All right, my friend, grab a flashlight and follow me into the chilling depths of a forgotten cemetery. This isn't your typical ghost story. This is a tale of eerie encounters and an unexpected twist that will send shivers down your spine. Picture a cemetery, overgrown with tangled vines and moss-covered tombstones, hidden away on the outskirts of town. It was a place that time had forgotten, a haunting reminder of those long gone. And for some inexplicable reason, I found myself drawn to it, my curiosity piqued by the air of mystery that surrounded it. As I stepped through the rusted iron gates, a shiver ran down my spine. My mind was racing with questions. Why did this place give me the creeps? It's just a cemetery, right? But the silence that hung in the air was deafening. I wandered through the rows of weathered gravestones, each one telling a story of a life once lived. My thoughts were filled with a strange mix of reverence and unease. Who were these people? What were their stories? And why does it feel like I'm being watched? As I continued my exploration, I stumbled upon a particularly neglected corner of the cemetery. The tombstones here were toppled over, and the earth had reclaimed its hold on this forgotten patch of land. My mind was in turmoil. Why has this part of the cemetery been abandoned? Is there something buried here that they wanted to forget? I couldn't resist the urge to investigate further. I reached down to clear away some of the overgrowth when I heard it, a soft melodic humming. My heart skipped a beat, and my thoughts were racing. Who's there? Is someone else in this cemetery with me? I followed the sound, my flashlight cutting through the darkness. And then I saw her, a young woman sitting among the toppled tombstones, her long raven black hair cascading over her shoulders. She was humming a hauntingly beautiful tune, her voice like a siren's call. My mind was in chaos. Who is she? How did she get here? And why does she seem so out of place? As I approached, she turned to me, her eyes the color of midnight. She smiled, and for a moment, all my fears melted away. My thoughts were a whirlwind of confusion and curiosity. She doesn't look like she belongs in this decrepit cemetery. What's her story? She introduced herself as Elena, and we struck up a conversation that felt strangely easy, as if we had known each other for years. My mind was racing. This is surreal. What is she doing in this forgotten place? And why does she seem so familiar? Elena revealed that she had a deep connection to the cemetery, one that went beyond the confines of life and death. She spoke of lost loves, forgotten dreams, and the passage of time. My thoughts were in turmoil. Is she a ghost, or is there something more to her story? As the night wore on, Elena and I shared our secrets and fears, and I couldn't help but feel a sense of camaraderie with her. My mind was spinning. It's like we're kindred spirits, connected by the mysteries of this cemetery. But is she real, or is she a figment of my imagination? But here's the twist you didn't see coming. Just as the first light of dawn began to break, Elena stood up, her eyes filled with sadness. She confessed that she was, in fact, a spirit bound to this cemetery for eternity. My heart sank, and my thoughts were a maelstrom of disbelief. This can't be real. She can't be a ghost. We've been talking, sharing stories. How can this be? Elena explained that she had been waiting for someone like me, someone who could listen, someone who could bring her a brief respite from the loneliness of the afterlife. My mind was in chaos. Is this some sort of cruel trick, or is she really a lost soul seeking companionship? With a sorrowful smile, Elena kissed my forehead, and in that moment, I felt a chill pass through me. My thoughts were racing. Is this the end? Is she taking something from me, or is she giving me something I never knew I needed? As she faded away into the early morning mist, Elena whispered a final farewell. My heart ached, and my mind was a tumult of emotions. Was she real, or was she a dream? And what did she leave behind? In the days that followed, I couldn't shake the feeling that Elena had changed something within me, that our encounter had left an indelible mark on my soul. My thoughts were in turmoil. Was she a ghost, a figment of my imagination, or a guardian spirit sent to remind me of the beauty in life and death? I returned to the forgotten cemetery many times, hoping to find Alina once more, but she never appeared again. My mind was a storm of longing and regret. Did I lose a friend, a connection to something beyond this world? Or was she just a fleeting moment in the darkness? And so, my friend, I'm left with a haunting mystery that defies explanation. Was Alina a ghost, a product of my imagination, or a guardian spirit? I may never know for sure, but one thing is certain. She left an indelible mark on my heart, a reminder that sometimes the most unexpected friendships can be found in the most unlikely of places, even in a forgotten cemetery. Gather round, my friend, because I've got a spine-tingling tale that starts in a forgotten cemetery, but it's unlike anything you've heard before. Picture a place that time had forsaken, a cemetery hidden away in the depths of a dark forest, and that's where my story begins. You know, sometimes curiosity can lead you to the most unexpected and chilling places. I found myself drawn to this forgotten cemetery, the kind of place that sends shivers down your spine just looking at it. My thoughts were racing. Why would anyone want to bury their loved ones so far from civilization? What secrets does this place hold? As I stepped through the wrought iron gate, the feeling of isolation washed over me, and the silence was palpable. The gravestones, some dating back centuries, stood as solemn sentinels in the fading light. My mind was in a whirl. Is it just me, or is there something eerie about this place? What am I doing here? I wandered through the rows of weathered tombstones, my flashlight barely cutting through the encroaching darkness. The engravings on the stones told tales of people I had never known, their names and dates etched into history. My thoughts were racing. Who were these people? What were their lives like? And why had they been laid to rest in this desolate place? The air grew colder, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. My heart quickened, and my mind was in turmoil. Is there someone else here with me? Or is it just my imagination playing tricks on me? I continued to explore, drawn deeper into the cemetery's shadowy heart. My flashlight flickered, casting eerie shadows on the ancient gravestones. My thoughts were a frenzy. Why is my light acting up now? Is it just a failing battery, or is there something more sinister at play? And then I saw it, a tombstone that bore my family name. My heart skipped a beat, and my mind was racing. Could it be a distant relative? Is this a coincidence, or is there a deeper connection? I brushed away the dirt and leaves, revealing an inscription that read, "Here lies William Hawthorne, born 1805, died 1849. I couldn't believe my eyes. William Hawthorne was my great-great-grandfather, a man I had only heard about in family stories. My thoughts were spinning. How is this possible? Why is he buried here, in this remote cemetery? And why had I never known about it? As I continued to explore, I discovered more tombstones with familiar names, Hawthorne after Hawthorne, generation after generation. My mind was a whirlwind of confusion and curiosity. This can't be a coincidence. There must be a reason my ancestors are buried here. But what is it? The night grew darker, and the cemetery seemed to come alive with whispered voices and rustling leaves. My heart pounded, and my thoughts were racing. Is someone trying to communicate with me? Or is this place haunted by the spirits of my ancestors? I couldn't resist the urge to dig deeper, to uncover the secrets of this forgotten cemetery. I decided to spend the night among the tombstones, hoping to catch a glimpse of something otherworldly. My mind was in chaos. Am I crazy for staying here? Or is there a chance I might uncover the truth? As I lay there, shivering in the cold, I felt a presence beside me. I turned to see a figure, a translucent apparition with a face that seemed both familiar and foreign. My heart raced, and my thoughts were a maelstrom of fear and disbelief. Who are you? Are you one of my ancestors? The ghostly figure nodded, its eyes filled with sorrow. It reached out to touch my cheek, and in that moment, I felt a rush of memories that weren't mine, memories of love and loss, of triumph and tragedy. My mind was spinning. Is this the past, my family's history, flooding into my consciousness? The ghostly figure began to speak, recounting the story of my ancestors, their struggles, and their sacrifices. My mind was captivated by the tale. I had no idea about any of this. How could I have been so disconnected from my own family history? But here's the twist you didn't see coming. As the ghostly figure finished its story, it whispered one last secret, a secret that would change everything. It revealed that I was the last living descendant of the Hawthorne family, the sole keeper of their legacy. My heart sank, and my mind was in turmoil. What does this mean? What responsibility do I now carry? As the first light of dawn broke over the cemetery, the ghostly figure smiled and faded away, leaving me alone among the tombstones. My thoughts were racing. What am I supposed to do now? How do I honor the memory of my ancestors and carry their legacy forward? In the days that followed, I dedicated myself to preserving the cemetery, cleaning the tombstones, and uncovering the stories of those who had come before me. My mind was focused. I can't let their memory fade away. I have a duty to remember and honor them. And so, my friend, this forgotten cemetery, once a place of fear and mystery, became a sacred ground for me. It was a connection to my past, a reminder of the sacrifices my ancestors had made, and a responsibility I carried with pride. Sometimes, the most unexpected places can reveal our deepest connections, and the past can reach out to us in ways we could never imagine. And that, my friend, is the tale of how a forgotten cemetery became a part of my family's story, a story I will carry with me always. Alright, settle in, because I've got a tale that'll make your hair stand on end. A story of a forgotten cemetery, restless souls, and a twist you won't see coming. Imagine stumbling upon a cemetery so overgrown and hidden away that it seemed like Mother Nature herself was trying to keep it a secret. It was the kind of place you'd only find if you took a wrong turn in the middle of nowhere, which is exactly what happened to me one gloomy afternoon. As I pushed through the tangle of thorns and underbrush, I couldn't help but wonder, why on earth am I doing this? There are much better ways to spend my time. But something about the place drew me in, an eerie fascination that I couldn't shake. The cemetery was like a forgotten dream, with tombstones that leaned at precarious angles and dates so faded you could barely make them out. My thoughts were racing. Who were the people buried here? Why had this place been abandoned? As I wandered deeper into the cemetery, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. My heart raced, and my mind was a whirlwind of unease. Is someone else here with me? Or is it just my imagination running wild? I decided to explore further, my flashlight cutting through the gathering darkness. And that's when I saw it, a grave recently dug, with fresh soil piled beside it. My heart skipped a beat, and my thoughts raced. This doesn't make sense. Who would be burying someone here, in this forgotten place? As I approached the grave, a strange sensation washed over me, like a cold breeze on a hot summer's day. My mind was in chaos. Am I just being paranoid, or is there something really strange about this grave? I bent down to examine it, my fingers brushing the soil, and then it happened. The ground beneath me shuddered, and I felt a hand shoot out from the earth, gripping my ankle with a cold, skeletal grip. My heart pounded, and my thoughts were a frenzy of terror. This can't be real. I must be hallucinating. But as I struggled to break free, more hands erupted from the soil, each one grabbing hold of me, pulling me down into the earth. My mind was spinning. This is impossible. I must be having a nightmare. Wake up, wake up. But there was no waking up from this nightmare. I was being dragged deeper into the ground, into the darkness, my body sinking into the cold, damp earth. My thoughts were racing. Is this the end? Is this how I die, in the clutches of the dead? As I descended into the depths of the earth, I heard voices, whispers that seemed to come from all around me. My heart pounded, and my mind was a whirlwind of fear and confusion. What are they saying? Who are these voices? The voices grew louder, and I realized they were the voices of the dead, the souls of those who had been laid to rest in this forsaken cemetery. My thoughts were a maelstrom of terror. They're speaking to me. What do they want? Why are they here? They spoke of pain and suffering, of unfinished business, of a longing to return to the world of the living. My mind was in chaos. Is this some kind of punishment? Are they angry with me for disturbing their peace? But here's the twist you didn't see coming. Just as I was on the brink of despair, one voice, the gentle and soothing one, reached out to me. It was the voice of a young girl, her words filled with kindness and empathy. She told me that the souls of the cemetery were trapped, unable to move on, and that I was their only hope. My heart ached, and my mind was a whirlwind of confusion. What can I do? How can I help them? And why should I trust this voice? The young girl explained that the only way to free the trapped souls was to find a hidden talisman buried with one of the graves. My thoughts were racing. A talisman. Is this some kind of quest? Can I really trust her? But I had no choice. I couldn't stay trapped in the earth forever, and the voices of the dead were growing more desperate with each passing moment. My mind was resolute. I have to try. I have to help them if I ever want to see the light of day again. With the guidance of the young girl's voice, I searched the cemetery, digging through the dirt and leaves until I finally unearthed the ancient talisman. My heart raced, and my thoughts were a frenzy of hope and fear. Is this really the key to their freedom? I held the talisman in my hands, and in that moment, a blinding light enveloped me. My mind was overwhelmed. What's happening? Is this the end, or is it the beginning of something even stranger? When the light finally faded, I found myself back in the cemetery, but it was different. The tombstones stood upright, the dates were no longer faded, and the voices of the dead were gone. My thoughts were a whirlwind of confusion. Did I do it? Did I free them? And then the young girl's voice spoke to me one last time, thanking me for my help and telling me that I had earned their gratitude. My mind was racing. Is she really gone? Did I imagine her, or was she a guardian spirit? As I left the cemetery, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had experienced something beyond the realm of the living, something inexplicable and otherworldly. My thoughts were in turmoil. Was it all a dream, or did I really help those trapped souls find peace? And so, my friend, the forgotten cemetery that once held me captive became a place of mystery and wonder. It was a reminder that even in the darkest of places, there is always a glimmer of hope, and sometimes the most unexpected twists can lead to the most extraordinary experiences.